Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you are on the podcast platforms, please subscribe. And if you are on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button as well as the like button while you're at it. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place. And let's get into this conversation. I've been listening to other people's commentaries on the Harry and Meghan docuseries on Netflix and the revelations, quote unquote, that have been coming forth. And I've done my own commentary on articles that I've read. I haven't watched the docuseries. I'm still trying to decide if I am going to watch it, and if I do, it's definitely just going to be from a stance of reviewing it. And usually when I watch things critically. Even when I watch reality shows, to be honest with you, I'm not really watching it for entertainment purposes. When I watch a lot of those things, I'm really watching things critically. Even when I watch things like 90 Day Fiance, I'm like, because a lot of those things are train wrecks, and I don't really get entertained by seeing people embarrass themselves, or, someone that's 55 years old that met someone online that's 25, that's overseas, that's more likely than not looking for a come up or a green card so that they can come to the U.S. for more opportunities. And you really think this person is in love with you, and then when things don't work out, you're devastated. I watch things like that more so critically, just to try to see if I can see some background on this person, their family, the situations, things like that, and what got them to the state of desperation. But when it comes to the Harry and Meghan docuseries, just different articles that have been coming out that I've been reading, I've been reading these things, and I'm just like, what? I previously did a commentary where she, in the docuseries, revealed a text message that she received from Beyonce, and that was just ridiculous. But this article from She Finds, it says that Meghan Markle dropped a major bombshell about that leaked letter to her father, and she says it was suggested by the Queen and Charles. And so if you didn't watch the train wreck of a situation with her and her dad leading up to the royal wedding that he was not invited to, we don't know the full backstory as to why she and her dad are no longer speaking. And it's quite sad. I always find it sad when a child cuts off their parents, because more likely than not, your parent is going to be gone sooner than you are. I'm not saying that you have to have a close-knit relationship with a parent when they have hurt you. And I know that there are a lot of people that have gone through devastating things with their parents because their parents may have been addicts, or they may have been abusive towards them and the family, other siblings, just a number of different things. And then as you become an adult, and you have the right to make your own decisions and choose who you want to be around, you choose not to be around that person anymore. And I am totally in agreement with that. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But when someone just completely disowns their parents, I truly believe that there is a flaw in a person like that. And I don't know what the flaw is. And I'm quite sure it's not just one flaw, because everyone's situations are different. I am the child of an addict. My mom and dad, they are still together. My dad has been an addict for years. Do I enjoy being around him? No, I don't. Do I love him? Yeah. Would I completely cut him off? I wouldn't do that. It's just, for me, it's an honor thing. And even though he has had these addiction issues, praise and thank God I have not. And I have not walked that same path. And I've made those decisions not to do so. I don't know, even him being my dad, his full backstory. I've heard some things about his upbringing. And a lot of times when people have issues in their life, they make decisions that are not the best. He made some bad decisions. I'm not going to hold him accountable for the bad decisions that he made in his life based on the negative experiences that he went through that were not his fault, that he didn't have anything to do with. And there's nothing I can do about it to make it right. But I can make decisions to say, this isn't someone that I choose to be around a lot. But if I see him, if I speak to him, I still give him honor because he is my dad. And I would never just say, you know what, I'm done with you. That's cold. You know, Kim, was it Zolciak? Yeah, her last name is Zolciak. Kim Zolciak Bierman from The Real Housewives of Atlanta and Don't Be Tardy, when she had her own spinoff, she completely cut her parents off, and she claimed that the final straw for her was when they used the bathroom in her home when she was getting married because she paid for porta potties, which she said they were really nice porta potties, and she did not want them going into her house because they woke up her children. And then she also claimed that they were selling stories to the tabloids, which I really don't believe that. Do I believe they were interviewed by a tabloid? Yeah, and they were just sharing their side of the story. But she completely cut her parents off, and she also has her husband in a state where he cut his mom off. And that's just really weird to me. I believe that there is a flaw in a person that just completely cuts off their parent. And usually it's for things that are, some people may say, no, that wasn't right what they did. But in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty petty. She cut her dad off, Meghan Markle. She completely cut her dad off. And I've said this before. This is nothing new that I've said. I believe that her dad was instrumental in a way in getting her into Hollywood and getting her the opportunities that she's gotten. Because we all know that in Hollywood, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you go back to past images of her, she was with her dad a lot. She favors her dad. She is a product of her father. And he worked in Hollywood. Was he a star? No, he wasn't. But he did work in Hollywood. Her mom didn't. So this story about this letter that was revealed that she wrote to her dad, she's pretty much blaming the Queen and Prince Charles, now King Charles, for that being revealed. So in this article, it says, in the 5th episode of the hit series, Meghan Markle, 41 said that she reached out to the late Queen Elizabeth II for advice regarding her father's infamously disparaging interviews about the royals after her and Prince Harry's 2018 wedding. The former Suits star's estranged father, Thomasmarkle, 78, there we go, he's up there, has a history of talking down about his own daughter both before and after her wedding, and she acknowledged this in the episode. Meghan Markle described her father's criticism of the royal family at the time to be very embarrassing for the family and a problem that needed to be solved. They wanted me to make it stop. She went on explaining how the Queen got involved, adding, and of course, I reached out to Her Majesty and I was like, this is what's going on. What do you want me to do? I want whatever advice you have, she said. But ultimately, it was suggested by the Queen and the Prince of Wales, now King Charles, that I write a letter to my dad. This letter, as Newsweek reports, was penned by the Duchess of Sussex in August 2018, and she also explained to viewers how she went to great lengths to get that letter to my dad discreetly. 2 months later, in October of 2018, British outlet Mail on Sunday published extracts from the letter. Thomasmarkle provided the letter to the newspaper and deemed its contents to be a dagger to the heart. The letter, as Meghan Markle explained, expressed her understandable disapproval of her father's actions after her marrying Prince Harry, 38. The mom of two also said in the docuseries that the reaction to the leaked letter was horrendous. Prince Harry also claimed that the leaking of his wife's handwritten letter to her estranged father caused a devastating miscarriage that she suffered. And Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sued the publication for printing the private communication between the father and daughter. We sat down with the lawyer for the institution, the monarchy, and senior members of the palace, she said. And it was in those meetings that I reminded them I wrote that letter at the guidance of senior members of the family. The two alleged that the palace stalled in bringing legal action against Mail on Sunday. And then the couple spoke about their decision to bring the case privately. Meghan dubbed this legal case to be a turning point when it came to her relationship with the British media. Everything changed after that, she said in the episode. While the lawsuit lasted 2 years, Meghan eventually won the case after Mail on Sunday appealed an initial ruling in her favor. The Court of Appeal upheld the judge's finding, as Newsweek writes, that Meghan had a reasonable expectation of privacy in the contents of the letter, and those contents were personal, private, and not matters of legitimate public interest. Okay, I am going to say this. I agree that her private letters should not have been published. I do agree with that. I don't think that they were wrong in bringing that suit for those purposes because, yeah, that was private information. I do believe that. But, you know, it was also reported that in May of this year, Meghan, she faced criticism for not visiting her father after he reportedly had a stroke. Before this, Thomas allegedly planned to travel to London after being invited by a right-wing news channel to see Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee when Meghan and Harry were scheduled to attend. And Meghan's relationship with her father, as Newsweek adds, is complicated by the lawsuit launched against her by her half-sister, Samantha Markle. I don't know what her half-sister is suing her for. I'm not trying to even find that information out right now. But here's the thing. Like I said, even though I agree that that letter should not have been printed because that was private, that was a letter between her and her dad, she's blaming Queen Elizabeth II, deceased at this point, and now King Charles, for her even writing the letter because she said that she went to them to ask them how she should handle it, and they suggested she write a letter. They didn't order her to do it. They didn't put a weapon to her head and say, do this, or, you know, it's curtains for you, like, or, you know, or do this, or you're not going to be able to marry Prince Harry, so it's this or no wedding. I don't even get that. She is Thomas Markle's daughter. She could have had a conversation with him. She could have done whatever she wanted to deal with her father. That was her dad. That was her dad. Her dad, her dad. Okay? I don't understand this chick. She blames everyone else for things that have happened. She doesn't, to me, take any type of personal accountability whatsoever. She talked previously about when she was a deal or no deal suitcase girl. I guess that's the label for those people that did that, where they would flip or open the suitcase to reveal the number and all that other stuff on that game show that Howie Mandel used to host. And she said they were objectified and, you know, it was not about their brains, but it was about their beauty. Well, you knew that when you took the job, but now you're coming out and you're calling it out. She doesn't take any type of personal accountability. Like, if she wanted to talk about that experience and not be criticized for the critique that she gave, an opportunity that she had in the past, being a deal or no deal suitcase girl, if she wanted to talk about it in a way where it's like it's not something that I was really fond of or I had fun doing, there was a different way that she could have said it. And the way that she expressed her opinions about it, it was as if they made her do this, and it was a job that she was hired to do. She knew what the requirements were, and the qualifications were that you have to be someone that's pretty. So I think that would be a compliment. I mean, I would think it would be a compliment, but maybe you don't want to be known for your beauty, but you took the job. And now years later, when you're in a state of privilege, you are talking in a way that's disparaging about the former job. And that's, for me, my criticism in that. It's not even for me about just Meghan. I often get tired when I hear people complaining about a past opportunity that they had when they worked at a former job. And I can say this from the stance of being a former employee. I used to be an employee years ago, but now I am an employer. I own a company and I have employees. And it is really funny when people work in a company and it's all gravy when they're there, but then when they leave, it's everything was negative. Well, why did you stay? You know, and I'm just I'm not even just speaking from my own experience, but I'm talking about overall when people do things like that. It's like, well, you got something out of it. One, you got an exchange. You got hired to do the job. You knew what the pay was. You knew what the job requirements were. It was an exchange. If you didn't want to do it, then you didn't have to continue to do it, you know? But that's neither here nor there when it comes to this. I really wanted to speak about this because it is just really quite ironic that Harry is trying to pin the exposure of this letter causing Meghan's miscarriage. I don't know what it's like to go through a miscarriage, but I have known people that have had miscarriages, and then I've known people that have been pregnant and have carried their babies to term, and they've gone through some extremely stress-filled situations in their lives, in their careers, in their homes, whatever, situations were going on that were just not the most idealistic. And they brought their babies to term, and they delivered, by God's grace, happy, healthy, beautiful children. A miscarriage is the body's way of rejecting, unfortunately, this child for a number of different reasons. No one can essentially say exactly why someone has a miscarriage all of the time. Now, there are some people that have underlying health issues and health concerns that cause them to have a miscarriage. But for Harry to pin this exposed letter on causing her to have a miscarriage, I think is a reach. I really believe it's a reach. And I just don't believe that he can pinpoint that on causing her to have a miscarriage. And let's be clear, if all of these things that they were going through, because, they're they've just been so tormented, and they've just been so, discriminated against. His wife, she has just been so mistreated, and all of the racism that have come up against her, and her having to leave the UK, and she's still not settled, and all of these things. Well, you had another baby while you were over there, and you had one while you were here in the U.S., and you all claim that things were so stressful. Well, why didn't she have another miscarriage in these situations? And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just trying to say that you cannot say that this exposed letter caused her to have a miscarriage. He's he's not a doctor, so he can't even say that. But when I read that, I just thought that was just really a reach. And it just goes to show how they're just blaming everyone for everything. And that's why a lot of people are seeing these two as privileged people that are wanting people to join into a pity party that most people did not ask to be invited to. So the thing about it is, they already had a strained relationship. I don't know what all of the reasons were, but she could have handled that in the way that she chose to do it. She chose to bring it to Queen Elizabeth and to Prince Charles, now King Charles at the time he was Prince. And in my opinion, she was trying to make it seem like, I care so much about the sanctity of the monarchy and your reputation, and I just think it's horrible how he's disparaging the monarchy, how he's doing these interviews and he's talking about the royal family. Let's be clear, I believe he was talking more about his own daughter, right or wrong, than he was talking about them. But she was trying to make it about them. And so with them trying to be nice, I believe, in a way that, because I believe they were probably thinking, well, why the hell are you bringing this to us? Why are you telling us about this? This is your dad. This is your father. But okay, well, you're asking our suggestions. We suggest you write him a letter. So she's saying because they suggested it, that's what she did. She could have done whatever she wanted to do to deal with her dad, So I just think it's ridiculous. I'm going to read a comment from this article, and this one person says, she and her father already had a strained relationship. The Crown gave her advice on how to diffuse a problem she brought with her. She had no obligation to follow it. Hey, I just said that. That's exactly what I said. She asked them, they gave her a suggestion instead of saying, B, this is your problem, not ours. Why are you asking us about it? Handle it yourself. The comment continues, insinuating this was the fault of the crown seems a bit much. I highly doubt the Queen, Charles, or even William had a hand in the letter being leaked to the press. I'd say it would be closer to Markle. I think she's correct that once she sued the tabloid, the others declared open season on her. Ironically, this defeats her argument that the royal family was the cause of all of her problems and unsupportive. Seems to me it was her money-hungry family who started it, blended with her lawsuit. She may have won the war, but she lost the battle. And I agree with that commenter's comment, because this whole thing about this docuseries, Harry and Meghan, is honestly supposed to be about how horrible the royal family is and was to her, and the mistreatment that she received while being in the UK, and how they did not protect her and support her. But yet she went to them and asked them what she should do about something that was her problem, and they tried to give her a suggestion. They didn't know her, and they definitely didn't know her dad. They didn't know her family dynamics. Meghan is, I can't, even if, I'm not even going to say even if, I honestly am neutral in this situation. Some people may hear my commentary and think that I hate Meghan. I don't know her to hate her. So I'm not one of these people that says, I hate Meghan Markle, I can't stand her. I can't say that I feel sorry for her in these situations, because the more she opens her mouth and shares and reveals, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, I try to watch things critically and not for the sake of entertainment or already being biased and feeling a certain way about somebody. I try my best to be listening to the back end, listening to the things that are not said, and then what is said, breaking that down. And that's what I'm doing in these situations. And she just really makes it hard for those who have been critical of her and who have not been supportive of Harry and Meghan and are not fans of them, because we get it. There are people that are fans of them. And we already know they're not looking at things critically. They're just going to constantly see her as the consummate victim, and Harry as this loving, doting husband that was just, against all odds there for his wife, and was going to do whatever and stand up to whoever he needed to for the sake of his family and his wife and his child, at the time, but now children. They're just looking at it in the aspect of, oh, they're so amazing, what a love story, this is just so perfect, and Meghan, she has been through so much turmoil. They're not looking at the things that most of us who came in unbiased but are not compelled to be on her side based on what she's revealing. They're not thinking critically. I am. And I cannot be in support of her based on the things that she's sharing herself. Period. So it has nothing to do with hatred for Harry and Meghan. I don't know these people to hate any of them, but the actions that they have made and the things that they have said, the revelations that they have brought forth, it just does not make it look like they were victims in any way, shape, or form, okay? So I would really love to know what you guys think about this. So let me know your thoughts, your comments, your opinions in the comment section, respectfully. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.